Purpose of any social science is to improve the condition of man and his institutions in the society. Different social sciences try to do this purpose in different ways. Political science tries to study and improve political institutions. Economics tries to study and improve economic institutions. And history. History method is somewhat different from political science and economics. And method of history is closer to method of anthropology. So let us spend little more time on history. What does history do? To study the society now, it goes back, it starts somewhere else. So what does history do? It wants the reader to time travel. Take Indian history. Little bit of prehistory and Indian Indus Valley civilization, and then ancient India, medieval, modern, and post-independence. To understand the present-day India, one starts from prehistory. This is the strategy. Time travel is the strategy. And what purpose should this time travel serve? It should give the reader an idea that the present is only one case of many possibilities. Many possibilities. There's only one case. Okay. And compare with other cases. And then evaluate. More importantly, what time travel enables is that it brings freshness to the perspective. Freshness. Coming from prehistory to present. Some newness, freshness, and it should make the person age older, very, very old and mature. Okay. Coming from prehistory, he should look at the present arrangements with newness. And so, with freedom from the present, he should look at things afresh and offer new solutions compared to the people who are only looking at the present. So I would say The purpose of history is time travel and shock of time travel, freshness. So the purpose of history, remember, is to understand the present and predict the future, which is the purpose of other social sciences also. All are geared to understand the present and shape the future. Now, where is anthropology? Anthropology also is closer to historical method. It believes in time travel. And it wants the reader to be shocked and to look at the present afresh. The difference between history and anthropology is that the time it travels is huge, starts from millions of years ago. It covers evolution of man, before that it covers evolution of primates. And to be able to understand this evolution, one has to know genetics. And then man evolution. And it places more details on the developments which are closer to emergence of sapiens. Pre-modern humans and modern humans focused. And it is here, it focuses on cultures pre-moderns and moderns built, which is archaeology. Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic cultures. Paleolithic is not contributed by modern, not all by modern. So pre-modern, archaeology, Neolithic, and finally it comes to civilization. And language developed somewhere here. Biological factors that led to development of language and how the development of language affected the cultural aspects. So linguistic. All these developments come under physical anthropology, linguistic anthropology, archaeological anthropology. They are all branches. But the main thing is the study of society, which is socio-cultural. Sociology. Okay. But how can a discipline cover so much? Here, what it does is that compared to history, history is specific to a place. Indian history. History is specific and also time span is much less. Whereas anthropology is not specific. It is general. It doesn't cover pastoralists of a place, but it covers pastoralists. Pastoralists in Mexico are similar to pastoralists in Australia. So what is important is how did man live at a pastoralist stage compared to how did pastoralists in Mexico live. That is history. Anthropology is identifying a pattern over this long span of time and across the world. So it is said, study of man across time and space. But such range is being covered by not going to specifics, but identifying the pattern. Okay. And finally, anthropology, starting from primates, comes to what you can call pre-civilizational societies. Societies before civilization, hunting, gathering, shifting cultivations, pastoralism. Okay. So it comes to pre-civilizational. And then it does something after civilization. It has to do after civilization because finally the purpose of the discipline is to study the present, which is after civilization. But when it comes to study post-civilization, so many disciplines are there to compete with anthropology. But pre-civilizational, it is unique. So who studies hunter-gatherers? Anthropology. All pre-civilization. But after civilization, then many disciplines enter. Okay. So there is something of after civilization, that is modern, urban, but there is very little of it compared to other disciplines which focus on the current. So this is how anthropology can be seen in relationship with others. Anthropology is also different in terms of who is studying whom. Political scientists are studying their own society. Economists are studying their own society. Psychologists who focus on man and rather than the society are studying people of their own society. Whereas in anthropology, it is not their own. Its uniqueness is the study of the other. It all started in 19th century where some social scientists sent questionnaires through missionaries and others to get the data on some very simple societies. And later they found those methods were inaccurate, and so they started doing fieldwork. So distinctiveness to anthropology is a student from modern societies going to a pre-modern society and staying there for months, sometimes can be years, and study, unlike in other disciplines. So it is the study of the other being pre-modern. And method used fieldwork. So aspiring anthropologist stays with a simple society, a tribe, for months, observing, participating in their work, which is called participant observation. And also, because he is staying there and studying, he studies all aspects of a society. So, all these things are features: study of the other, pre-modern, fieldwork, all aspects, which is called holism. All aspects mean family, economy, polity, religion. Inequalities. Inequalities or stratification. Classes, castes, inequality dimension. So family, economy, polity, religion, inequality dimension. All aspects are studied by an anthropologist. One subject that comes close to study of all aspects of a society is sociology. But the difference between sociology and anthropology is that anthropology's focus is pre-civilizational and little of civilizational, whereas sociology's focus is on civilization, but all aspects. So what would be the difference between anthropology and sociology in terms of these dimensions? In pre-civilizational societies, stratification is very little. So that is why class dimension becomes very important in sociology. Whereas that class dimension is not so important in anthropology, because inequalities are in many societies non-existent, stratification is non-existent, and are very less. So this is how anthropology developed its unique features. And then, in the context of modern man studying pre-modern, because person going out and studying somebody who is dissimilar, then the issue of how to study came. How should a person grown up in an urban environment look at cannibalistic practices of certain hunter-gatherers? How should he look at tribal warfare? So, an entirely new set of questions of how to study the other without bias. And if they are studying different societies, S1, S2, S3, can S1 be held superior to S2? S2 be held superior to S3? First of all, is one's culture superior to other cultures? So certain concepts came: cultural relativism, ethnocentrism, and a lot of anthropological thought deals with issues on how to study, what is the way to organize the data from fieldwork and how to conduct fieldwork. So this is somewhat unique. And but then as of now, pre-modern are becoming fast part of modern societies. Okay, very few hunter-gatherers, many simple societies are forced to merge or be integrated with modern societies. So, what would be a forte of anthropology is a serious question. What would be specialization? A student, a graduate student would make a trip to an exotic land and spend time there, and he would be anthropologist one day. But where would he go now? Very few exotic lands, because they are fast becoming modernized. So we can say the subject of anthropology, the focus of anthropology and its distinctiveness is shrinking. Okay. That is one of the reasons why anthropologists are using the old methods of fieldwork and the study of the other, but studying certain groups within one's own communities. An anthropologist from a higher class lives in a slum in his own city to study. It is study of the other, participant observation and fieldwork. That's supposed to be anthropology. So anthropology has gone into the study of contemporary societies with its own distinct methods. But when it is doing it like that, then it surely competes with other disciplines like sociology. But definitely one important aspect of anthropology is about the other, the pre-modern, going out, the exotic. Okay. So, and then the biases that may be a part of such a study. So that is one dimension. Now, what is anthropology in India? Anthropology in India, or Indian anthropology, is huge and more important compared to anthropology in any other country, or at least many Western countries like US or Europe. Why is it so? Because India has a huge past, so much to study. Why is there so much to study? Number one, first, even pre-modern humans or archaic humans came to India from Africa. If you are taking anthropology as study of man, pre-modern humans came to India out of Africa. And next, modern humans came 65,000, okay, before modern humans came. Okay. And they developed cultures here. Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic. So you have archaeology. And then there is ancient civilization. Okay. And study of IVC shows that the people from this side, Iran, came, created this Harappan civilization. And then some of them moved to South India. And when Indus Valley civilization declined, people spread even to these parts. Okay. So linguistic studies show connections between Iranians and South Indians or Dravidians. And then came Aryans, mixed with Harappans and South Indians. And then out of which caste system came. And then as an interface between Harappans, Aryans and then others, different religious practices came. Religion, Hinduism came. And the newcomers integrated with the old comers, with the natives. And in that process, they developed the caste system and a particular ideology to justify the caste system, Hinduism. So in Indian context, caste, religion are all interlinked. And then caste is nothing but a group, nothing but absorbing a group into Hinduism. So tribes got absorbed into Hinduism and became castes. So study of anthropology in India means studying these processes of what are the tribes, how did they become castes, what is the role of the religion, where they came from, how did all these people come. That is to say, Indian anthropology studies the very formation of Indian society, unlike sociology. It is the birth and the childhood of Indian society, the focus of Indian anthropology. Okay. And then, in addition to this, you have many people coming from this side. So, India has so many tribes, simple societies, unlike other countries, and deep past, unlike other countries. And then another thing is that anthropology is defined as study of the other, anything exotic. So for Western people, caste is the other. So caste, which is a feature of civilizational society, also comes under the other. So that is why somebody like M.N. Srinivas is called anthropologist in the West, though in India he may be called sociologist. Because caste is something the other and the exotic. So, Indian anthropology studies huge part of Indian society, its formation and its childhood. And then, because anthropology by nature focuses on the simple societies, it focuses on tribes. Okay. And their well-being. Okay. So this is what Indian anthropology is about. I want to examine, did anthropology serve its purpose? Of course, it depends upon what you think is the purpose. But I think its purpose, from my viewpoint, is to give shock of time travel with an intention to give the reader a freshness to look at the world. Freshness to look at the world. And then promote self-critical reflection. Self-critical reflection. Self-critical reflection of one's own society, having gone through a time machine that traveled millions of years. If we define purpose of anthropology that's how I define, then we can say anthropology did not serve. I don't think anthropology really promoted that self-reflective criticism of modern society. I believe that is what it should have done. It didn't. It is not that anthropologists didn't have that temperament of self-reflective criticism. There were many anthropologists who spent a lot of time with the simple societies and touched by them and believed that they had many great things to teach. Mead was one among them. Very Elwin was one among them. But despite such individual anthropologists, anthropology on the whole did not contribute to self-reflective attitude, because study or the subject on the whole looked at pre-modern as some below compared to modern. Anthropology is ideologically committed to cultural relativism, opposed to ethnocentrism. But on the whole, discipline believes that the modern are superior in many ways. And so, anthropological knowledge was sought to be used not so much how to improve the modern, but how to improve the pre-modern, often with the understanding that they should move towards. Though the anthropology rejects this explicit proposal that pre-modern should be like modern. But that is how a lot of anthropological development took place. So under applied anthropology, you have how to develop others pre-modern with their participation, with their consent. But definitely the idea of development was more like the modern. So anthropology ended up being the study of the pre-modern, how to develop them, how to make them better, or how to save them, or how to protect them. It is not so much on self-reflective and critical attitude of modern civilization. Okay, so this is what anthropology is. And it may have happened like that because, many disciplines are competing with anthropology to the attention of modern societies. So anthropology could not really critique other disciplines, could not really challenge. So anthropology was shunted to the study of the pre-modern, specialized to the study of pre-modern. In Indian context, anthropology is about tribes, how to help them, how to protect them, their problems, their administration. Okay. So this is how I rate anthropology. But if we want to use anthropology not simply to help the pre-modern or the simple societies, but as a tool for a reflection of the modern, it has a lot to offer, and a student can study anthropology like that. I believe the essential spirit of anthropology is to look at an American president, or for that matter, Indian Prime Minister, and see in him how he is leading compared to the way a gorilla was leading at one time, or gorilla leading now, or band leader in a hunting gathering society was leading, or how a chief in pastoralist society leads, and how Akbar led. And then with all that experience and memory, to look at the pattern, that is the spirit of anthropology. Not how to develop changes. No, that would be too silly. Malinowski, after spending many years in Trobriand Islanders, came back to his place, and then when he was in a museum, he was looking at certain pieces of museum, and somebody was explaining this thing somebody had long ago. So Malinowski says, this is how articles assume importance. This is what was there in Trobriand Islanders, and this is what is there in contemporary Britain. Man is the same, and culture is after all to meet his needs. Okay, it is not that they are inferior to us. I would say such a perspective is anthropological perspective. Critical reflection of the present. And I would say that such a critical reflection is very, very important, because if you ask me, given the climatic change, we are about to be doomed. I don't know how mankind is going to escape itself from climate disruption. So climate disruption shows that we have gone wrong in a fundamental way. So you may help the pre-modern, that is different, but more important is what do you learn from the pre-modern, because it is the modern civilization that brought us into this crisis. Anthropology should teach us that humility, give us that freshness, and should give us an understanding that we have somehow gone wrong, and how should we revive or get back. What is the thing that within few hundreds of years we are ruining what is built over lakhs of years? What happened? So such questions should be the scope of anthropology, and answers should come in terms of how alternative economic institutions are possible, alternative political institutions are possible, and what the societies that survived for lakhs of years have to teach to us. Okay, so I would say that is a spirit. And in the context of India, because anthropology studies the pre-modern and these are the most disadvantaged, by the way these people are treated, by the way these people are treated by the systems, will explain how India's economic and political institutions are working. That is one more way of looking at it.